this song won me over completely. It's definitely a grower, not a shower.
Oh my god.
Okay.
What?
All right.
We're gonna have to put an we already have. I'm guessing.
It's always
rating.
explicit, Brienne. Our episodes are always.
We drop
explicit.
the we drop the F bomb a lot, but like, oh my god.
We drop the fuck bomb.
We drop the fuck bomb a lot.
On the Moshpit Airlines, I am your pilot, Michelle, joined by my co-pilots Brienne and Kelly. This is the final boarding call for flight MGK to Tickets to My Downfall. We are now inviting all passengers with tendencies to play air guitar and or drums, and passengers that also sing along to not only the lyrics but the instruments, as well as any passengers requiring assistance to get into crowd surf position. To begin boarding at this time, please have your tickets and Converse ready. Regular boarding will begin approximately in 25 minutes time, post our music news segment. Thank you. So who's ready for takeoff?
Woo! That was amazing.
That was pretty great.
I'm not gonna lie, normally I roll my eyes at your puns. That was like A+, like
really spot on.
I loved it. That was great.
I am definitely also ready for takeoff because I need a vacation. So
I was about to say, I'm like, take me anywhere.
That whole situation that just happened, like, really spoke to me.
You felt it on like a deep level.
Very much.
I hate flying, and that got me excited. Of like, where am I going? I'm bad. Let's go anywhere.
What is happening? I'm ready for this adventure. So, in case you missed that not-so-subtle reference, today's adventure, it is Tickets to My Downfall Day here on the Moshpit, and we're going to be doing a track-by-track album review of Machine Gun Kelly's Tickets to My Downfall. It's been a minute since we've done an album review, at least like 3 episodes, right?
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
Get ready.
Yeah. So, if you're a fan of the show and, my fun posts on Instagram, because as Brienne likes to clarify, I am the one that runs the Instagram account. We are probably the farthest thing from MGK stands. And, we like to poke fun at him. But I have to tell you guys. So remember that new alternative rock radio station I was telling you about that I've been listening to a lot?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, they have been playing Bloody Valentine all the time. And I mean all the fucking time, at least once an hour. And, maybe I'm exaggerating, maybe I'm not, but they played enough that it has actually grown on me. It's been stuck in my head and stuff, and,
In your yed?
Yeah, in my yed. I don't know if this means I have to stop talking shit about him. We'll have to wait and see what my thoughts are on the rest of the album. Also, by the way, it was killing me because he sounded like someone, and I couldn't quite figure out who it was. And then I did figure it out, but then I forgot before I wrote it down. But I had told my boyfriend, Nick, so I asked him, but he has an absolute shit memory, so he also forgot. But, too long didn't read, he reminds me of Trace Cyrus. If Trace's voice was a little bit lower, tell me you can't picture MGK singing 17 Forever or Kelsey.
Well, yeah, I could see it. I could see it. They also all have an entire body of tattoos, so.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe it's their aesthetic that reminds me of them more than their voice. Maybe it's just that long, lanky,
tattooed, yeah.
I remember Trace Cyrus, and I remember, but for the life of me, I cannot hear it in my head. You know how, sometimes, I know the songs you referencing, but I'm just
shake it. Shake, 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 shake it, shake it. Yeah, no?
Yeah.
You can hear it? Can you hear it in your head now?
Yeah, I mean, I can hear shake it in my head, but even then I'm maybe, question mark? I definitely remember Kelsey having more of a deeper tone, so I feel like that might be a better analogy.
Because shake it was definitely more he had that high-pitched thing. But you have to think, Trace Cyrus was also 18 when that album came out, so it's probably a little different. I mean, MGK's 29.
Not quite.
Yeah. All right, anyway, we'll get more in depth on MGK's vocals and the album Tickets to My Downfall. I can never say album names. It is such a struggle for me. I don't like, this is a very simple
kryptonite.
album name, and I'm struggling with it. I'm stumbling over it every time.
Very straightforward.
Anyways, let's go on to music news. So, speaking about analyzing vocals, one of our favorite vocalists, Ollie from Broadside, and I think the whole band also, were featured on a new song with pop-punk hardcore band Aim High. And, you know, obviously it's an Aim High song, but, you know, I just have to start off by saying Ollie and his vocals, just hard eyes, always. But the song, though, it is fantastic. I really loved the music, and I really enjoyed his singing, Ollie, with that was in tandem with the screaming. Like, I felt like it had a real, like, 2010s pop-punk vibe that, you know, I'm not really sure how to describe the 2010s, but it kind of felt like if Sleeping with Sirens melded with Pierce the Veil and Bless the Fall. That's what this song was to me. But regardless, I loved it. I definitely enjoy screaming in songs, and I've never actually heard of Aim High, but I'm totally going to listen to them now.
Yeah, I had never actually heard of Aim High, I don't think, before this song. And I usually...
Me neither.
Oh my gosh, I'm just like you, Brie.
Welcome to the club.
I know. But, I mean, I normally, like, stray away from screaming in songs and some of that more hardcore pop-punk stuff. But I actually really enjoyed this song, and, like, maybe it was because Ollie was singing on it, but I actually quite enjoyed it, so I might give some Aim High another listen.
I think that's why collaborations are so important. It's just because, you know, like, I don't think you ever would have found Aim High without knowing that, you know, Ollie from Broadside was going to be featured in it.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
And, you know, that kind of helps people really experience
discover
aspects of the scene.
Yeah, so I always, when I type on my notes for the new music, I always do it like stream of consciousness, like as the song's happening. And for the first verse, I hated it. Like, his voice was just, the lead singer's voice, I could not get behind. It just was this weird, creepy, I don't know, I wasn't into it. Then Ollie hit, and I was like, okay, saving the song. And then when the screaming hit, I was like, okay, I'm in. Like, if they could just, like, chop off that first verse, I'm here for it. It just, that first verse, I was just, like, cringing. My skin was crawling. I'm like, I can't do this.
Oh my god.
The name of, his voice was just, I don't know, it sounded like, it just wasn't good. Like, I'm like, why am I listening to this? And then when the screaming kicks in, I'm like, there it is. That's why people listen to them. Because the screaming was great. And in all honesty, it's been a hot minute since I've actually listened to a song that had screaming on it. Like, I'm pretty sure the last time I listened to a song, like, that I actually really liked, that, or a band I actually liked, was, like, A Day to Remember, like, Downfall of Us All era. Like, wait.
Da 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 da. Let's go! My favorite part, my favorite thing to sing ever, all the time, always.
That used to be my phone ringtone, like, in high school. It was great.
Oh my god.
Yes, but except for the times where I wouldn't have it on silent in class, and my teachers would not be happy with me. Anywho, ironically enough, today I was driving around, and I put my whole music catalog on shuffle, and just was like, let's see what happens. And Chiodos popped up, and it was
oh my god.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Like, I'm right here in front of you. And I'm like, listen, I'm like, oh shit, it's been a minute. So that was the last screaming song I had in my head. And when I heard this, I was like, okay, I need to reinvest in this kind of music because I miss it.
Yeah.
And it was a good song once we got past that first verse. The first verse was rough.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, if you don't typically listen to, like, you know, a little bit harder stuff, even listening to some songs with some screaming, and it is good because the screaming they meld into the song well. Yeah, and it's you know, it definitely breaks up the typical, like, pop punk sounds and everything. So, you know, I definitely I agree with you. I need to, like, invest more in some screaming.
Gotta love it. All right, more new music to come. But actually, this will be out by the time this episode gets released. But Bones, aka Alex DeLeon, formerly of The Cab, Bones had teased a new song which was released on October 2nd. It's called Send in the Machines. So we'll be listening to that tomorrow because we're recording the day before.
I think we can all preemptively say we liked it. Like,
Yeah,
I can tell you right now what I thought of it. It's great. Like,
yeah, based on the teaser of it, pretty cool.
Alex DeLeon's lyric, like, vocals are great.
Check back in 2 weeks. We'll talk about it on the next episode for sure, just to see if our vibes line up.
If our prediction was correct.
All right, on to the next piece of new music. Mayday Parade has finally released new music. So they have a new EP coming out on October 16th called Out of Here. But they released a new song off of the EP called Lighten Up Kid.
So I clicked the link to listen to it because so when we set up our notes for every show, you know, we put in our music link so we can all like listen to it and everything. So I clicked the link. I thought I was listening to Mayday Parade. And, you know, I was totally vibing, and I was like, this is weird. It sounds like old school We the Kings. Like, even, like, Derek sounds like Travis right now. I had no idea what's going on. But so it didn't, like, open up in, like, my Spotify app. It opened up in the browser. And in the browser, I had been listening to We the Kings, the last song that came out these nights that we talked about last episode. And so I was actually listening to We the Kings. Meanwhile, I'm like, this is like weird. Mayday sounds like We the Kings. What's going on? But anyway, the song, I loved it. I mean, Mayday Parade's a staple in the scene, and I don't think they can really do wrong. You know, they always sound like Mayday. You know, they sound like your typical make me feel every sad emotion I ever felt and cry into a pint of half-baked Ben & Jerry's Mayday Parade song, you know? And by the way,
so
that's
detailed.
it's not something I've ever done. I'm not speaking from experience. But you know, it's typical Mayday. It didn't really stand out in terms of like, oh my god, this is so cool, this is so experimental, this is so like whatever, but it's great. It's Mayday, you know?
Yeah, so when, like Michelle said, we put all our links in the thing, we usually, like, will write out a quick little, like, not full script of, like, what we want to remember, but there's a lot of music, trying to remember which comment you were going to make about whatever. So as I'm listening, I'm just, like, I'm typing in my name with my notes next to it, and I catch Michelle's, all I see in Michelle's notes is old school We the Kings. I'm like, oh, fuck. It does sound like Travis. Like, I couldn't get it out of my mind. I was just like, oh, shit, this isn't We the Kings, this isn't We the Kings. But I was so here for it. Like, anything new Mayday, I'm so here for. It's been a minute since they've released anything, right? Like, I'm not crazy. I'm not in my, like...
Your bubble?
You know, not dealing... Yeah, my bubble. Brienne doesn't know bubble.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm excited for new Mayday, and even more excited that there's going to be an EP to go along with it.
Yes.
But yeah, just overall really good. I definitely agree with the like emotions. Just Mayday always makes you feel all of the feels at the same time. They're really good at that.
Did they invent the glass case of emotions? Like, is that where Anchorman got it? I'm pretty sure that was just
Very
I think that's
albums.
I think that is absolutely where it came from.
Very probable. All right, on to another new single from Waterparks. This one, it's to me like feels very Waterparks-esque, like something that could only be them. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like a lot of Waterparks songs could only, like, Waterparks is the only band that could pull it off. You know what I mean? I think they're super unique, and this kind of fell right in line with their vibe to me. And there were some references back to their last EP and some singles. Watch What Happens Next. So that was cool. I like when bands like make references to their past or like have little Easter eggs in songs and stuff like that.
So I've never been a huge fan of Waterparks. I mean, to be fair, they've also been introduced to me through this segment of music news and whatnot. But I mean, it was for not being super into that kind of vibe. It was pretty good. The beginning, not necessarily the one. I mean, the first I want to say 5 seconds of just weird techno beats. I don't know. It was just very strange. It kind of made me feel like it was like if pop punk and 90s techno had a baby, which I mean, the fact that this is very much their sound, according to Kelly, is that an accurate description of just their music in general, or because I feel like they have a lot of techno beats.
They tend to have more synthy and techno-y sounds.
Yeah, they definitely. Yeah. Well, they're definitely synthy. They're definitely the epitome of neon pop punk. Yeah, they definitely have that kind of techno-y vibe, and it's the thing I like about them, and the thing I also don't like about them. It's a it's a huge contradiction. That's what Waterparks is to me. Kelly,
you're
what you were saying,
a complex person with complex emotions. It's okay.
Yeah, like what you're saying. This is very them. I'm like, yeah, it's very them, but it's also really not. But it's definitely my favorite Waterpark song ever.
Ooh, bold words.
Yes, it was boppy as fuck. As soon as it got past that little intro, I was just jamming hard. I was bopping along. It was a jam bop banger. That's what this is. I was into it from the get-go. And this is how I think rap should be incorporated into pop punk. Yeah. We've got this emo rap trend, and instead of the beats being what we bring into pop punk from rap, I think it should be the fast-paced flow of rap lyrically. That's because I think that worked so well in this song, and I would 100% listen to more music like this.
Totally agree.
Moving on, another band that has new music, because that's what this segment is. It's music news. Seaway released another new song that is going to be on their new album, Big Five.
Yep.
Yep, that's what it was. Still Blue. I loved it. It definitely has more of that different vibe that Seaway's been going with. Definitely different from their last albums, Fresh Produce and Vacation. It's got a little less pop and beachy vibes, and it's definitely veering more into the punk side of pop punk. But it just still has those feel-good vibes from Vacation and Fresh Produce. I mean, at least musically, because the lyrics are definitely not feel-good in the song. They're kind of, they're blue.
I definitely feel the same way on this one. It sounded it feels like a different Seaway, but a more mature Seaway.
Yeah.
Still fun and upbeat, but it just sounded a little bit newer and more, I don't know, if current is the right word, but just a little, I don't know, new vibe from Seaway, but I really liked it.
As the resident, I don't know the band person, I
love that you have to clarify it every time.
Yeah.
Well, the main reason why is because I think, I sometimes feel stupid because I don't listen to the bands, but at the same time, I also feel like it's a good attribute to our podcast.
Yeah, it definitely gives it a fresh perspective.
Yes, because also there's so many people who listen to this who are like, I don't know this, should I even bother? Sometimes we stand music because we love the band, even though a lot of people might not actually like the song. So, being an outsider, I liked it. I will definitely say that the verses kind of sounded auto-tuned, or was that just my computer freaking out? I feel like there was a slight auto-tune on the ends of his, I don't know, it sounded a little weird. But I did love the chorus, the gang vocals, all that stuff was really great during the chorus. I will say, there actually is a warning at the beginning of the music video, because it literally is you might have an epileptic episode because of it. And that music video is why I've never done drugs, because the entire time I wanted to vomit, cry, I had an anxiety attack. It was just a lot.
And that's so funny, because I was like, yes, this is so cool.
I'm literally the entire time I'm like, I would quit if they asked me to edit this video to make it look like this, because I just felt physically sick while watching it. So I put it in another tab and just listened to it because I couldn't handle both at the same time. It was like sensory overload. Speaking of sensory overload, we're about to get some major concert vibes, y'all. So, our boys are back. All Time Low has announced a live concert series, streaming, obviously.
Series!
Enunciate
Series. Well, because, you get excited. You're like, oh, there's one live stream. No, ladies and gentlemen. There are five full-length concerts coming at you. Five. Wait, I'm trying to do 5 golden rings, but I couldn't think of the words. 5 live streams.
So good.
As we head into the holiday season.
I mean, to be fair, the last concert is December 19th, so basically book your 2020 to end the year with All Time Low. Every other Friday starting next Friday, so October 9th. They will be doing a live stream concert at 6 p.m. Eastern Time every other Friday from now through December. So I am fucking pumped. So the first show is going to be Wake Up Sunshine, cover to cover. And then after that, every band member is going to create the full set list for each show afterwards.
I'm really excited for that. Because
I
think
cool.
I wonder if they're going to overlap, like, songs.
I feel like they have to, unless they're, like, making an effort not to overlap.
Because then you get then we'll get some really cool, like, songs you don't usually see in concert, which is what I'm kind of looking forward to.
That's what I'm looking forward to. And not only that, I think, first of all, I already bought all 5 live streams, and I'm getting
quickest purchase I've ever made.
Yeah, I'm getting the hoodie.
I'm like in this weird limbo because technically we have a rehearsal dinner for a wedding we're going to on Friday night, of the first one, and that's the one I was actually most looking forward to. So I'm gonna need someone to like screen record their computer so I can watch it afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you purchase the ticket, you can like watch it up to like a little bit after. But
fuck yeah, okay. If that's
really?
if,
I think double check that. I don't want to lie to anyone.
If not, I might be at that. Well, because luckily it's a family thing and it's very small, so there's only like 10 people going. So I'm just gonna like hide in the corner with like a headphone and be like, "Wake up, sunshine." Like,
oh my God. You sound like a gremlin.
Like we used to do, Brie, in our film classes, we'd watch the football games.
Oh my God! And Julie would call on us, and we'd just be like, "What? Huh?"
Sorry, what was that? But no, I'm super excited. The Wake Up Sunshine set's gonna be super cool. But I'm excited for the set list because I feel like what each band member chooses is going to be like kind of delving into their mind a little, because I think we all know how certain songs from All Time Low make us feel, so it's interesting like that they would pick that song, or that song, and so I'm excited to see like what the set lists are actually going to be.
Well, I remember the live stream that was on my birthday. They did the like interview afterwards because Alex was the only one who actually played that time, and when they did the Skype call afterwards or Zoom call afterwards, they were talking about like, yeah, you clearly can tell that Alex picked the set list because none of us would agree to that order in that, like, they were like, those songs were fine, but like the order of them, we were all like, what the fuck were you doing, dude? So it'll be interesting to see how each person plays. Also, it's kind of like, once we hear it, I'm gonna be interested to see, like, especially for like Ryan, like, is he gonna pick all like really intense drum solo songs, or is he gonna try to like pick, you know what I mean? Or
I feel like that would be a little narcissistic of him, wouldn't it?
I mean, I wouldn't put it past Jack to like do that.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Definitely.
I feel like Ryan not Ryan, Zach is just gonna be like, I'm just gonna sit here and I'm gonna pick the songs that are left over because he is just like the most mellow person.
He's just like, yeah, whatever. No, I'm super stoked, and it's like, a highlight for me, considering it has been over 200 days since I've been to a concert. I am still keeping count, guys. I'm hoping against hope, that some way, somehow, I'm still going to be able to see Neck Deep in December.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, it's looking less likely, but I'm just hoping.
I feel like it's getting better, but also getting worse because, like, concert venues are opening in Jersey, but then at the same time, like, there's like this ominous like flu season, it's gonna come back, blah blah blah, like bullshit. So we'll see.
Spooky season. That is
Spooky
definitely
season, but actually people dying? Question mark.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh, sorry, I took it there. But
Yeah.
that's the reality of our lives.
Yeah.
Well,
Kind
on
of
that
a
sad note.
downfall.
Yeah, it is quite a downfall.
Oh.
I did not purchase the ticket to this downfall, but
We were given tickets to this downfall.
it was free tickets. It seemed like a fun ride, and then all of a sudden,
I regret everything.
but as you can see, we're segueing into our track by track review of Tickets to My Downfall.
It is time to review Tickets to My Downfall. Tickets to My Downfall is Machine Gun Kelly's 5th studio album, but it is his first fully pop punk album. So it's a departure, like quote unquote.
Debatable.
It's a departure though from, his established rap and hip hop, I guess, career. Is that what you would call him?
Yeah, even though he
Rap and
calls himself
hip-hop.
just a musician, not a rapper.
He's very versatile, so he's not switching genres. He's just versatile and can do, all these genres. But Tickets to My Downfall is, that quote unquote first official pop punk album, and he had Travis Barker in his corner as a producer, and of course drums.
You definitely hear it
on
Yeah.
on this album.
Who better to do your first pop punk album with than Travis Barker?
Exactly.
Yeah, like the king
definitely
of pop
set
punk.
up for success at that point,
Yes.
even if, that's just the start, but definitely having Travis in his corner set him up for success in the pop punk world. But let's get right into it, starting with title track, the very first song on the album.
I appreciated the play on actually naming it title track versus
Tickets to My
Downfall.
Downfall. I
appreciated the
enjoyed that too. I
tongue-in-cheek.
thought it was
was
cute,
cute.
tongue in cheek. Yeah, it was cute.
Yeah, it's cute. It's cute.
You're cute, MGK. You're cute.
Okay. I actually thought it was a pretty good open, though. It was I didn't really know what I was expecting at this point. Obviously there were a couple singles, a couple that I liked, and a couple that were kind of meh.
But they were all very different. All the singles
They were.
Yeah.
Exactly. So listening to title track, I was like, what is about to happen? I don't really know. And it was a softer start, acoustic guitars, and then it almost reminded me of the guitar in Remembering Sunday, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be a slow start, a ballad to start out the album, and then immediately very punk. Obviously, it switches, flips a switch.
It kind of reminded me of Satellites. When, how Satellites is the first song.
Oh,
or not
yeah,
first song,
yeah.
but how All Time Light always starts out their shows. Well, used to from when that album came out. So that was the comparison.
Yeah, I thought it was definitely an interesting choice to start off acoustically. It definitely threw me off, but I gotta say, in a good way. They're already subverting my expectations, because we all know I was going into this super skeptical. But I gotta say, I'm pretty impressed. Especially by the lyrics, I felt like they were really mature, with this nice high energy pop punk backdrop that it dropped in at the right moment, and he referenced how people can be fair weather friends, and the pre-chorus was heavy with implications of suicide, and he definitely, as we know, experienced all of that dealing with addiction and depression, and we've mentioned on the podcast before that that's something that is very prevalent in the scene, and people turn to pop punk and similar genres to get through these issues. So I thought it was a strong start. I was digging it, surprisingly.
So I really liked it. I would say that it reminds me a lot of Blink. I did really like the slow start and then the pickup and the whole thing. Lyrically, so I really appreciate when artists can confront their demons and all that kind of stuff. But I will say, one imagery that was way too vivid for me, especially knowing when I was in high school, I did this the razor reference about I use a razor to cut off the hard edges or whatever. I forget the actual wording of it, but like as someone who had done that in the past, like that fucking triggered me hard.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I really did love that song, and like the first like verse the first chorus I didn't catch that line, but then the second chorus I was like, oh, that's really like visual. And like a lot of people will talk about suicide, and you know, I'm always there for trying to like bring that kind of imagery and kind of stuff, but that was just so hard and fast, and I was like, oh fuck, okay, buckle up, kids.
Yeah, it's I think Machine Gun Kelly is not one to shy away, because like, you know, as I was listening to this album, and like, you know, this album and Machine Gun Kelly's foray into pop punk has been super controversial, so I've been trying to learn a little bit more so I don't sound like an idiot. I actually, one of his music videos for a previous song had like, you know, actually very explicit imagery of what you're talking about, and you know, he's not one to shy away from it, but I think, you know, there's maybe drawing a line, and I don't know if
I don't necessarily think he crossed a line. I just think he tiptoed real fucking close.
Yeah.
And I'm also a very sensitive person, especially at that phase of my life, so I'm probably overreacting to it, but it definitely struck a chord of like, oh, okay, let's buckle up for this album, because who the hell knows what's going to come after this, but yeah, so
this album's definitely a roller coaster, because you know, I very much enjoyed this first song. I called it a jam.
I said jam also.
I had bop, but I am not opposed to a jam, so we'll go with a jam.
So it's a jam. So, as I was saying, this album's a roller coaster, and the next song, Kiss Kiss, after this strong start. Okay, so it's not a bad song. But this is one of the songs where his voice just kind of grates on me, though. Like, after some listens, I've gotten used to it, but, you know, after this strong opened, it just seemed, I don't know, a little generic pop punk, which, you know, there's nothing wrong with that, because plenty of bands have had their generic pop punk albums, and, you know, let's be real, my favorite Neck Deep album, Life's Not Out to Get You, is like the epitome of generic pop punk. But I don't know, for me, someone coming into the scene from the rap scene, you know, they need to really impress me to win me over. And I know people are going to say, you know, this isn't his first foray into pop punk, but let's just say we'll agree to disagree, because, you know, a few collaborations does not a pop punk artist make. But, you know, it's not a bad song. I'll say that the chorus is catchy as fuck, but I don't know, maybe it's because the same lines repeated over and over. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I thought it was really catchy. It felt like definitely way more on the pop side. But I thought it was really catchy. The lyrics were like pretty basic. And I feel like that's why his voice may have gotten to you, because like he's saying the same thing over and over and over again.
That makes sense.
For like 3 minutes in the same like tone.
Yeah.
So like I can see how that would, I don't know, like grate on you after like a 3-minute song, but like I still like sing along to it. It's like one of the ones like, since it's the same words over and over again, like the first chorus happens and then you're singing it by the end of the song, because that's all of the words.
Sure.
That's how they get you.
So I was listening to the song and I was listening to lyrics, and all I could think about was this would have been on my pregame playlist, like going from like
yes,
but like not even in college. Like it would have been on my pregame playlist the summer before my freshman year of college, mainly because like once I got to college, like the girls that I lived with, like I had you guys eventually, but like my freshman year, I would never have listened to pop punk as a pregame. But one of my best friends from high school, Ryan, he has the perfect crossover of like Lady Gaga and pop punk, and this is where we met in the middle, which was the greatest, because we all know that's me as well. So I was listening to this, and I'm just like, I can just picture me and Ryan hanging out at his house, you know, drinking, and then like,
this is that middle ground.
Sitting in his hot tub and like just fucking off on the summer night, and I'm just like, this is exactly what would have happened. So I don't necessarily think it's the greatest song, but I definitely wouldn't change the channel. Like, it's one of those.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
So it's a
It's
meh.
a good like crossover between like
Yes.
pop and pop punk. So
Yes.
that like it could be a good song for like people that are into pop and like don't know if they like pop punk. Like it's a good.
It's like
gateway.
dipping their toes into the water.
Yeah.
For sure.
So it's a meh for me.
I had a jam.
I give it a bop. Oh, we're all over the board.
Well, I mean, for me, jam and bop, I feel like are intermingled. So I'll change mine to bop because I definitely think that it's more,
so it's a bop.
Poppy. So that makes more sense for it to be a bop. So yeah.
All right.
That was my thought exactly.
All right. Track number 3, Drunk Face. This.
Title just makes me laugh.
Yes, but it also, like, when I saw that, I was like, I wonder. So this song would have been the anthem of my post-college but pre-Florida life. Specifically the I'll grow up next summer. I'm with that girl who I should have lost her number. Like, all of that describes that, like, 3-year period. 3 year? Nope, way longer than that. Either way, that chunk of my life, my early 20s, where I was dating the wrong people. I was just drinking myself into oblivion.
Making
just like,
mistakes.
no. I also worked nights, so I was staying up and
Young
seeing the
and dumb.
sunrise every other fucking day. So it was... so it just... I think the lyrics really hit hard for me. I did really like the song. The ending where it, like, echoes out, I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
Yes.
Me too. That was probably my favorite part of the song.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was really good. It was definitely something I would go back to. So I'm here for it.
First Kiss Kiss and then Drunk Face, like right in a row, just like made me feel like I was like back in college, or at least, a couple years younger.
Yeah.
It just like gave
Early
me the
20s.
like, yeah, exactly. But like both songs in a row, I was like, okay, like I feel like I need to drink some alcohol on this Thursday. But I think so far, so I mean, we're only 3 tracks in, but like already the drums are my favorite part of every song. And like,
Me too.
100%,
it's just like, it's so
100%.
in the front of my mind. Like, yes, there are things about each song that we've all liked so far. Like sometimes it's lyrics, sometimes it's like melodies, sometimes, like other effects and things like that. So there are other things that are making us like these songs. It's not just Travis, but like you can feel his fingerprints all over this stuff, like
all over it.
But I mean, yeah, like you gotta call out the drums on like even the first 3 tracks so far. Like they're so prominent, they're so Travis, and it's just so good.
Yeah. I am definitely a fan of the drums here. And I think, I'm gonna say like that's like arguably the only thing I like about it. I mean, it is another catchy song, but I'm not super sold on it. And I know I'm gonna sound like I'm being like purposefully like a contrarian, because I just said the last song was generic pop punk, but this one I was disappointed that there wasn't like that super high energy pop punk. So I know I sound like an asshole.
You're looking for a happy medium.
I am. No, and you know what? And I'm going to admit, like, Machine Gun Kelly, he knows his way around guitar. So, I think for this song, I would have wanted more of that. And to complement Travis's drums, because they were great in this song. And, speaking of Travis's drums, like, I was looking through some of the credits for the album, and they listed credits for bass and guitar and, like, other things on some songs. But I didn't see the drums credits listed anywhere, so I'm just assuming it was Travis, no?
Yeah, that's weird.
It can't not be.
Especially because if they didn't list it for Concert for Aliens, which he's literally in the music video doing the drums. So
yeah, exactly.
If he's not listed on that one, then clearly,
maybe he's listed as like producer.
Yeah,
probably.
Like it encompasses other things. I don't know.
Yeah.
But, all right, what do we rate it?
A bop.
I had a jam.
All right, so it's a bop.
It's a bop.
Bop's fine.
It's a bop. Moving on.
All right, track number 4, Bloody Valentine. We've all heard this one before. Michelle has heard it many, many a time on her alt radio station. I don't think I've heard it on the radio, but actually I don't know that I've turned on the actual radio. So that could be probably the reason why I haven't heard it on the radio. But I love it. I mean, the lyrics are pretty good. There's great melodies. It's pop punk feel all around. Like, gotta love the na-na-nas and the in my yed. 2000s pop punk at its finest. I really like this one still.
Yeah, I mean, like I said at the top of this episode, this song won me over completely. It's definitely a grower, not a shower.
Oh my god.
Okay.
What?
All right.
We're gonna have to put an we already have. I'm guessing.
Well, it's always explicit, Brienne. Our episodes are always.
We dropped
explicit.
we dropped the F bomb a lot, but like, oh my god.
We dropped the fuck bomb.
We dropped the fuck bomb a lot. I can't. Oh my god, I'm sorry. That just startled me a little bit. Like, scandal.
I mean,
dare you?
Yeah, I mean,
continue.
like I said, I liked it to start off with, but I'm gonna say I'm actually a legitimate fan of it now. Like, I know all of the lyrics. That tells you everything.
Yeah, it really does.
Yeah, I remember when we listened to it originally, I was like, I like it, and then like when we started talking about the other singles that came out afterwards, we're like, no, Bloody Valentine's still definitely the best. And now that like it's been some time and I listened to it again, I'm just like, this is a great song. Like,
yeah,
I really like it. It's, I think the tone also complements his voice really well. Like, there's a couple songs in this album where I'm just kind of like, I don't know if his voice just sounds weird in comparison to the actual, like, guitar and drums and whatnot.
For sure.
But I think this complements him very well.
Yeah. So, it's jam for me.
I said jam.
Jam.
Oh, we
Woo!
agree. Unanimous.
Yes. We'll see how unanimous it continues to be as we move along this album. But,
yes, we will.
I said Bloody Valentine's a great song, and I'm really a fan of it, but Forget Me Too, number 5 off the album, is probably my favorite. I absolutely fucking loved it. I absolutely loved it. I think I would have loved it even without Halsey, but she makes it for me.
Chef's kiss.
Even though her voice was a little overproduced, it had this like odd warbling sound, but I still loved it. And because I definitely love dual vocals like this, that instantly makes it a jam in my book. And, I think they complement each other so well, especially in the bridge when like they tag team the lyrics. By the way, did you guys catch the word kaleidoscope?
No.
Yes, it was in there. So, like, I think we've got another conspiracy on our hands. Like, are kaleidoscopes about to come back? Because if they are, I really think we need to do what Kelly said and get some kaleidoscope merch for the mosh pit to get ahead of the curve. So we definitely need to do that. But yeah, going back to the song, it's on my playlist. So there you go.
So I love this song. The one thing I had to say about, how you're talking about Halsey's voice being a little overproduced, I don't necessarily think it was overproduced. What the difference is that, like, in her songs, like, a lot of, I'm the quickest thing that comes to my mind is Live Without Me. The verses, she does, like, a very, like, low register, like, very whatever. But then the choruses, she goes really high. It just seems like everything she sang was in that weird high voice. Like, she didn't differ her...
I don't know. It was kind of, like, reverberating. It was like she was, like, gargling as she, like, sang. I don't know. But it was...
Well, that's...
I still liked it.
That's kind of similar to what she does. I mean, not... I know what you're saying. I recognize that too, but at the same time, she does have that tone a little bit during her normal songs. So I think it was just, like, over-exasperated in that. But I agree. I think this is probably the best track on the album. I was so into it. I honestly was so into Halsey's part of it that I'm like, I need this girl to do a pop-punk album. Like, if everyone's gonna start,
it would be so
if everyone's
good.
gonna start doing crossovers and everyone's gonna start melding genres and saying fuck
Just
it,
do it.
why not? But also in the same vein, I want Halsey to do a pop punk album because I could picture her being like the next Hayley Williams, fucking just rocking out, and I need it.
Yeah.
But on that note, though, I'm very annoyed with the internet on this one because there are way too many comments that like, oh, is that Hayley Williams or Halsey?
No,
it's very...
No, just because she's a woman does not mean that they sound the same or have, like, anywhere near the same voice, like, at all. So I was just very annoyed with the internet on this one, but I absolutely love the song, too. I thought her feature was amazing, and I need her to make a pop-punk album.
Absolutely. She totally owns it. She crushes it, and hers was definitely the best feature on the album. Not only the best song, but the best feature on the album as well.
Agreed. I think we need to start a Twitter movement.
Tie for me with the Black Bear feature.
Well, that's because you have an obsession with Black Bear.
I do, very much. So tie for me, but I agree it's really good.
I think we need to start an internet, on our Twitter, like, whatever, like, movement, and, like, be like, at Halsey, please do pop punk. You can just start fucking, like, getting all up in her shit until she gets up in it.
Let's do it.
So.
Yes. We'll get people to do, like, covers of Halsey songs in pop punk, and, you know, yeah.
Amazing.
Oh my god.
Not
yes,
us, because we're not musically talented, but we'll get somebody to do it.
If you are a pop punk artist out there and you want to cover a Halsey song in pop punk, send us a link at the moshpit at gmail.com, right, Mish? Or at the moshpit
it's the moshpitpod@gmail.com. Send us your vids, or tag us on Facebook and Instagram at the moshpitpod.
Send us your vids, for sure. Okay, so I had this as a jam, or I could honestly, this one's very, like, maybe a tiny bit short of a banger for me. It didn't.
It's a little bit short of a banger, but definitely a jam.
Yeah,
okay,
I'd say jam.
So we're going with jam. Perfect.
But agree, very close.
On to the next song, All I Know, featuring Trippie Redd. Does anyone know who that is? Or, I mean, might be a new artist, might be an old one. I don't know. I've never heard of them. But I like this song. The lyric, all I know is I don't know nothing at all, speaks to me on a spiritual level. Because that, I feel like, is like, that's like...
That's a good lyric.
That's like 2020's motto.
Yeah, well, I mean, 2020, anyone going through their 20s in general, like, from the beginning to the end. Maybe not early 20s, because you think you know what you're talking about, when in reality you have no fucking clue. I really liked it. The lyrics were very pop-punk, angsty vibes. You know, like, a lot of the other ones were more... you know, dating or, you know, whatever. I feel like this was the first one that it was like, I don't know. I got a very pop-punk angsty vibe from it, and I really liked it.
I thought it was pretty catchy, especially that line. I think that's a pretty good lyric. To me, like, at this point, I don't know, like, so far, I've obviously, like, enjoyed all of the songs on the album thus far. Like, we've rated them pretty good, like, the album as a whole has been pretty good so far, but I don't like for this song, for some reason it started to sound like a little bit like monotonous, I guess, from like, I don't know, I feel like a lot of the songs like sound the same a little bit, and it could be his voice, like the monotone. I think it might be more the monotone of his voice than it is like the songs and the melodies and stuff, but I do feel that maybe it's his voice that's, like, all monotone, and, like, I don't know, he just, especially in this song, it just felt like he was, like, saying stuff, and he wasn't, like, passionate about it, and, like, I know pop punk isn't necessarily known for, like, amazing vocals most of the time, but, like, normally pop punk singers are very passionate, and, like,
that makes
really,
up for the lack of...
You can feel it.
Yeah, give it their all, and, like... I don't know, just especially this one for me felt like he was just like saying stuff in a monotone.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I think the monotone voice definitely ruined what is a catchy song, you know? I think the catchiness comes again from the repetitive chorus than the actual song. But, you know, the monotone just kind of kills it. And, you know, Trippie Redd, he was an okay addition, but I feel like he was super underutilized to, like, he didn't enhance the song, because, like, you know, having another vocalist on there, especially with MGK's kind of monotone, I think is a good effort to break it up, but it felt so, like, flat, and, you know, the emo rap vibes are definitely what's propelling the scene a little bit right now, and I think it was an opportunity that wasn't capitalized on.
I agree. I feel like he was, you know, that one verse, even, and then after that, he fell into, even... I don't even know if he was in it other than that one verse, because if he was in the chorus, he sure as shit fell into the background. So at that point, it's like, what was the point?
Yeah, it's a meh.
Yeah, this was my first meh.
Yeah, same.
Alright, it's meh.
We agree. Alright, on to track
You sounded so
7.
depressed, Kelly. Oh, we agree.
Well, I mean, we were doing pretty good up till then.
Yeah, it is. It took us till song number 6 to have, like, a meh.
It's pretty, I mean, yeah, so, like, pretty decent album so far.
Yeah.
Keyword so far.
Anyway.
On to track number 7, Lonely. So based on like what we were just saying with the last song, I feel like at this point in the album, like it was definitely a good switch up from like the vibe of the songs and, you know, the first 6 songs. It's probably the most emo song on the album. Like you can feel some more of his passion and emotion in singing this one than I think you can in you know, some of the other songs. But yeah, definitely like pretty emo, and I am still unsure, I think, on how I feel about this one. I might have to give it some more listens to really like let it dig in.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think it was definitely, you know, it made me feel something, and it was a really good, like, power ballad almost. You know, and I think the lyrics had some of that maturity that I mentioned from title track, and it had some good introspection about, you know, his relationship with his dad. And, you know, I think the audio at the end really drove it home for me. Because, you know, during the first listen through, I thought all these, like, added sound bites were really weird. But I like the story they're telling, and it really makes the songs almost unpolished in a good way, because it makes it feel more real, more authentic, and,
I also liked I liked and disliked the audio clips throughout. Like, when I was listening to it, I'm just like, what the shit is this? And then I started listening to actually what they were saying, and I was like, oh. But I'm not gonna lie, the final audio clip kind of threw me off because I could barely understand what was being said. Like, I had to listen to it. I think I've listened to the song more than any other song, or well, minus the singles, obviously. But I think I've listened to the song the most out of the new songs off the album, just because I couldn't catch what was being said fully. Like, it was very muffled, which is probably an old recording of what was happening and whatnot, but still, it was, I don't know. But I agree, the lyrics were very mature, very hard-hitting, like, all of my heartstrings were being plucked. But yeah, I really liked it. I liked to see this side of him rather than, like,
yes,
a lot of his songs are, like, borderline a drug fever dream. You know what I mean? Like, there isn't any rhyme or reason to them.
I mean, you know, obviously we have our share of, like, you know, like, drugs, alcohol, girls in the pop punk scene, but, you know, obviously the rap genre is very driven by those kinds of themes, and you know, that is where he comes from, like it or not. And so, like, that, I think that's kind of where his writing comes from a little bit.
Yeah, well, because he's been very open about his struggle with drugs and alcohol and all that kind of stuff, so which I very much appreciate. But it was nice. I think it makes him vulnerable. It's nice to get more of a, you know, less of the crazy side of him and more of the, like, heartfelt side, which was for sure. I labeled it as a bop.
Ditto.
I said jam. So. All
right. So bop.
Sure.
Well, it's 2 out of 3, so bop.
Okay. So track number 8 is WWII, also known as World War III.
I was so confused as to where you were going with that. I'm like, I
didn't know if you, like, didn't know.
No, guys, I knew.
Okay.
I was trying to be literal. Sorry, I guess my sarcasm is not understood.
I'm really bad at sarcasm. I'm terrible at sarcasm, so.
I mean, it wasn't great, but still. Anyways, so I have very mixed feelings on this, because this to me feels like the first interlude. Keyword there is first. But I loved the fucking guitar and the drums. I was so disappointed when it ended early. I wanted it to be a full-length song. I wanted to have a breakdown in the middle for the bridge. Like, I was ready to fucking rock out, and it just cut off at 1:20, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Where'd the rest of the song go? So I'm very torn about this, because if this had been a full-length song, it probably would have beat out the Halsey song for best song on the album. I was just very upset about what happened here.
Yeah, I super disagree. I think the song was just kind of a distraction for me from the rest of the album, because it was, for me, what it felt like was a serious version of, you know, the very Blink-182 mini songs, like the joke songs like Built This Pool or Family Reunion, and you know, when you hear those kinds of interludes, especially with that, that Blink influence, especially coming from Travis, obviously, you expect it to be just like a joke song and like just bullshit. But it was, if like you said, it did feel like an unfinished song.
But those are like short jokes. Like those are like less than 30 seconds. This was like a minute and something. Quick. So it like felt like it was meant to be something, and it was like the most punk song on this album. Like,
I suppose that's true.
It was the most punk song on the album, like by far. And I felt the exact same way as you, Brie. I was like, I like this a lot, and I just wish it was longer than a minute.
Well, especially because while we're listening to the album, we're taking notes. So I have Spotify up in the background, and I just have my notes full screen. So I don't see how long a song is, what the name of it is. I literally just have the track number, and I just start writing notes and stream of consciousness. So as I'm writing stuff, I'm like, oh, this song is great, blah, blah, blah. And then all of a sudden, it just goes to the next. I'm like, what the fuck? And I go back and I look, and it was like minute 20, and I'm like, oh, so it's an interlude? And then the very fucking next song is labeled an interlude, and I'm just like,
what the
huh? It makes no goddamn sense.
Yeah, for me, I guess I just didn't even consider it like as a punk song, like as a song in general, just because it felt like an interlude from start to finish for me. So I just didn't even really give it the time of day. So I guess maybe if I go back and listen to it with your guys' like thoughts in mind, I'm gonna be like, wow, yeah, fuck, we were like, what's the phrase cheated. I'm looking for? Yeah, we were cheated. This is bullshit.
Bamboozled.
Kerfuffled.
Hoodwinked.
Yes.
That's all I got. I don't know any other words that mean that.
Now we ran out. All right, so what are we labeling it, ladies?
It's a meh.
I said it was a banger.
I had it as a jam. I had jam-ish. It would have been a banger if it was a full song. But because
That's fair.
That weird fucking length, it's a jam for me. So I feel like it averages out to a jam.
I'll settle for a jam.
Okay.
All right. So next, we've got an actual interlude. Kevin and Barracuda. So this is just random bullshit in the studio of Pete Davidson.
It's not even a studio. It's on a fucking FaceTime.
Oh, was it on FaceTime? Whatever it was.
At the very beginning, you could hear the ringing and then him going, like when you.
Oh, I didn't hear that part. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what? Okay, so FaceTime then. So it was MGK and Pete Davidson being silly and unnecessary.
Okay. I could not pick out the fucking voice who was the other person, and I didn't look it up because I wanted to find out here. It makes way more sense as Pete Davidson now.
Yeah, it's Pete Davidson because I know they're buddies and it was just clearly him to me. But I know it was dumb, it was stupid, it was unnecessary. But I think it added a little color, and just hearing what they were doing was a good little prelude to Concert for Aliens because of what they were doing.
I feel like I don't have strong feelings either way. It's like an interlude. It was like funny, whatever. I listened to it once. I skipped it every other time. Because, like, once you hear it once, like, I don't need to listen to them, like, beep, boop, back and forth. Like, I don't need to hear that.
So, because the last song should have been labeled an interlude, it pissed me off to no fucking end that he put another interlude right after. So that's part one of why I'm mad. Part two, like, literally the first comments I wrote in my stream of consciousness was like, but wait, there's actually an interlude, ? I thought it was funny, but at the same time, it brought me so hard. It was like a screeching halt. It brought me out of the experience of an album so quickly. Like, with other interludes, normally there's some kind of music, but this is literally just, like we'll talk about a little bit farther down the album, if there was some kind of music behind it or something, the fact that it was just them talking, it literally, I felt like I hit a brick wall, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess we're gonna take a pause from music now, ? Like, I don't know, it just, it didn't sit well with me. Like, he could have done it in a different way with the exact same audio, maybe just put some music behind it, that I would have been way more okay with it. It just, with him just talking, I wasn't into it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care about the song really either way, or song, quote unquote. this bit either way, it was just like whatever. I don't feel anything about it. And I don't know. It didn't take me out of it because we have had other sound bites throughout, so it was just like, oh, more sound bite.
Oh, we'll get there.
Yeah. Okay. Meh.
I had it as a flop.
I didn't even rate it because
it's not a song.
it's not music, so I didn't rate it.
That's actually very fair.
So this interlude, this clip is just a flop, I guess, because without a rating and then a flop and a meh.
It's a voice note. That's all it was. It was a fucking
It's a
voice
voice
note.
memo.
That is what it
Yeah,
is.
memo. That's the word I'm looking for. All right. On to the next actual song. Concert for Aliens. We had already talked about this one because it was released early. I still love, like, nothing much changed for me. I still love the guitar. I love the drums. I love everything. But the lyrics, it just takes me out of it. In all honesty, the interlude explains how this song came about because he talks about how he's coming down off of being high on mushrooms, and that is the only way you can explain the lyrics of this song, because he has a fucking fever dream. Like, not even, like, yeah, there's weird lyrics in songs, but this one I just, like, could not get behind even a little bit. His voice sounds fine, the music is great, it's actually really good. The lyrics just fucking kill me. I can't.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you too. I'm gonna stick with my original comments. Like, I did not like this one originally. It's unoriginal. It feels like a Blink ripoff. I cannot deal with his voice. The lyrics suck. But despite all of that, it has grown on me. I mean, I'm not gonna choose to listen to it, but I won't change it. And I may or may not sing along if it comes on.
I feel like I'm in the same boat as you, Michelle. I
still change it.
You still change it? I don't know. I like it definitely more now than I did as a single. I was trying to, like, listen more into it, and I actually, like, do like the vocal distortions that they did in this one. Like, it was, like, pretty tastefully done, and since it's about like Concert for Aliens, it was, like, kind of well done and well placed there. But I don't know. I think it's his voice again on this one that
his voice,
like, really makes me not like it. It, like, sounded like, I don't know, and maybe it was the bridge or something. I think maybe not the whole song, but maybe the bridge. It, like, reminded me of those boring training videos you have to watch at work, like welcome to the 2020 ethics training. It was just like,
that's really funny.
I don't know. That's just what I felt.
It's like wallpaper.
That's what it reminded me of. We always talk about what songs remind us of, like, other artists and stuff. That's where I'm at.
Yeah, it's a meh for me.
Meh.
It has meh.
Alright. So, like Concert for Aliens, the next song, My Ex's Best Friend, I'm gonna stick with my original comments. It's not pop punk. Black Bear's awesome. But I'm going to change my opinion on it. Like we said before, if I had heard this song, like, in my college days or even in my early 20s, like, at bars, I'd be into it. So, if I think of it as not pop punk, I actually enjoy it. It's a song I can vibe with. After listening to it a few times, I caught myself dancing when the song came on. I just don't think it belongs on this album.
So we had talked about it beforehand about how it's not really pop punk and how it's kind of a weird song. But even now, listening through the album, at least everything else sans the weird voice memo, everything else matches. It seems like it goes together. This, I feel like it's such a out of left field. There's no connection to the rest of the album. Like, it was just so confusing. I mean, don't get me wrong. Love this song. It is a great song, but it's not. I feel like he should have done this on, like, a single that doesn't show up on an album type of situation, or on a different album, because the song is great. It's just not pop punk. But I mean, there's nothing wrong, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, if he's gonna do, that's why at the top of the show when we were talking about it being his first full pop punk album, I personally was like, air quotes, because that's not pop punk. Every other song on this album is. But that one just didn't sit with me. It was, I mean... Yeah. Again, great song, not meant for this album.
Yeah, I don't think it felt as much like pop punk as the rest of the album. It more just felt like pop with a rap feature. But, like, might be one of my favorite songs. I don't know. I listen to it all the time. I've listened to it, like, every day. So, that says something.
No. 100%.
But I do think, so he also released a deluxe version of the album, like, a couple days after the initial release of Tickets to My Downfall. And there were, like, 4+ other songs on that deluxe album. and so one of them was called Body Bag, and it featured Youngblood and The Used, and that one I feel like would very well transplant into like this track list spot. I think it was like that. The other one was like way more in the same vein and vibe as the rest of the album. And I'm very glad we have this song because it's amazing. But I do agree it like doesn't exactly fit into the rest of this album, but I like it for what it is.
All right, so what are you rating it?
I said a bop.
So I like I said, I don't think it belongs on this album, and for that reason and that reason only, I'm calling it a flop.
Oh my god, but you have to rate the song.
Oh, Dip. You want to know why? This is the one where I was like, haha, I'm funny. I had it as a parentheses club banger.
Yeah.
So I have it as a banger because it's a great fucking song. It just doesn't belong on the album. That's
yeah,
why
I like the song. I just don't think it belongs on the album, and for that, I'm gonna call it a flop.
Well, we win because it's a good song.
All right, so what
bring
is
it
it?
down to what? Wait, Kelly, would you rate it? Because I feel like you're the average.
I said a bop.
Okay,
and
so
you
bop. I said
I said bop. You said banger. So
Let's call it a jam.
So
okay.
So yeah.
Our
Makes
rating
total
system's so fucked up.
There's
that
no
math
rhyme or
really
reason.
adds up so well.
I feel like it should have been a bop to average it out, but because if it's banger, jam, and then splitting, and then
No. It's jam, banger, bop. Bop and banger are on the same.
Okay,
level.
right. For some
Same
reason, I
level.
always think banger is above. Yeah, you're right. Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Okay, on to track number 12, Jawbreaker. So this one to me was like pretty basic again with like the repetitive repetitive lyrics, but it was super catchy, and there was some interesting, like, I don't know if it was like strings or synth or something interesting happening behind the drums and guitar, which like spiced this one up a little bit. And at this point I was like, wow, this is a really long album. And I had the deluxe version, so like I had even more than the normal album. And at this point I was like, wow, this is a really long album. But I did think it was pretty catchy, and this one's fun to sing along to.
Yeah, for me, like you said, I think it's kind of basic. I'm still struggling with his vocals at times. The lyrics are okay. It's really nothing special. For me, my favorite part of this song is the drums on it. I think it's my favorite drums
I
on
thought
the
you were
whole.
about to say my favorite part of the song is when it is over. I don't know why I thought you were going to say
I'm not
that.
gonna lie, I thought that's what you were gonna say too.
No. The drums, and I gotta say that the drums on this track are my favorite on the album. I think it's the only
really
thing I
good.
like about this song, really.
So I agree. The drums were probably the only thing I did like about this song. The first thing that I wrote in my notes was, why the fuck does he need to talk during every goddamn song? Like, by this point, I am just like it's slowly starting to build the pressure of me just being like, it's unnecessary. It's literally all the opening said was the song's called, or like the name of the song is.
The title is.
Yeah,
I liked that. See, I liked that part.
I think because he had talked so much on the album previous, it just fucking annoyed me. I'm like, it was unnecessary. Like, if that was the only time he did it, I would have been like, oh, it's cute, whatever, moving on. But, like, I don't know, it just fucking flipped a switch to me that I was just like, ready to set the world on fire. I was so angry. But I will say, the drums were great. The beat of the song is amazing. I mean, other than the drums, there's nothing really to write home about. Like, it's just, it's okay. It's a good song. It's solid. It's not something I'll seek out, and I'm 50-50 on if I'm changing the channel. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Like, sometimes you're in the mood for it, sometimes you're not.
Yeah, exactly. Which is exactly why I gave it a meh.
Yeah, it was a meh for me, too.
I said bop. But fair.
Yeah, Kelly, it's a meh.
The mess have it.
Mm-hmm.
So another song that's like not bad was Nothing Inside. There's nothing inside the song. back. No, just kidding.
God.
No, I liked the
Aw.
music. I liked the music. The lyrics were alright. Another song that I don't think he really capitalized on the collaboration. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't bad. It had a little like, to me, it had a little bit of like an emo vibe, like if My Chemical Romance was like true pop punk, or like Blink's I Miss You vibe. But yeah, overall, I just didn't connect with it. It was just, I don't know. This one was just a personal thing for me. I don't know. It didn't do it for me, but I can recognize it's a decent song.
So I also had comparison bands to it, and I feel like mine's a little bit more out of left field, but I also might be talking out of my ass, but we'll see. I had Taking Back Sunday meets like hip hop, because the pop punk part of it I felt was like very like Taking Back Sunday, and then there was like the random beat drops and like the synth and shit in the background.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I liked it.
Well, yeah, I
This
think it
one
had that
was-
emo vibe. I think that's a fair comparison.
Yeah.
I think this one was very, basically, it was enjoyable. There's nothing crazy good about it. I mean, the guitar riff was kind of cool, and then, like, the way it ended, like, the low-key, like, drop down of the music was pretty cool, but, like, other than that, I honestly, like, now that we're talking about it, I can't really remember specifics
Yeah,
about the song.
that's
So
literally
it's
what I was
okay.
just gonna say.
It was
Like
okay.
a little bit forgettable to me. Like it,
yeah.
I don't know. Same as you, Mish. Like it just wasn't doing it for me. Like there's not much. I think one of the things that got me was like there's not much build up or like payoff to the chorus. Like the verses and the chorus like
Yeah.
sound too similar. I think there's like
Yeah.
not enough of like a build up or like a drop or anything that like would get you more
There's
into
nothing
it
that
or
made you
excited.
hyped,
It was just
yeah.
kind of like there.
Yeah, I think that's the problem with a lot of this album, is that a lot of it falls flat, and like whether it's the vocals or whether it's the music, it all just kind of is just like on that same
But
level. There's
usually-
no
There's
But
no
usually
build.
there's like one piece that's like, wow, this like knocked it out. Like
Yeah.
maybe like everything's like sometimes like kind of meh, and then like, but oh my god, the drums were amazing. But like, oh my
the
god,
bridge,
the
the-
melody was so catchy. There's like
Well, there's
a
also
piece that's
there's
like
al-
taking it and making it better. Usually,
There's also like the song, like a lot of pop punk songs would like build to like the end of the second second chorus, and then like the bridge is a breakdown, or like, or there's like the subtle, like just everything drops and you don't hear anything, and then they come back. You know what I mean? Like there's always
Yeah.
some little thing where you're like, oh, dip, that happens.
Yeah, it's a
But-
roller coaster. This album was
This
a roller
one-
coaster, but not the songs.
Yeah, this one was just kind of like, okay, I'm
It's
on
like the
a kiddie ride.
kitty train ride. Yeah.
Yes, it's the kiddie ride versus like most pop punk songs are like, oh shit. Put your
yeah,
hands
that's
in
a
the
really good
air.
point. Like the bridges, I feel like are so bridges in general. I think are so
Important.
important in pop punk. Like they're always like
They're essential.
some songs are like my favorite because of the bridges. Like I feel like they
100%.
missed out a little bit, or like he missed out a little bit on like capitalizing on that. Because I feel like having a cool different bridge in the song in any of
Sets you
these
apart.
songs would have livened it up and a little bit more. And like even with maybe his more monotone vocals, like having a cool bridge in any of these songs, like I didn't like love the bridge in I think any of these. I mean, it was fine, but like I think if the bridges were more exciting, maybe it would have like taken it over the edge.
Yeah.
In
It's a
my
meh.
expert opinion.
Yeah, in your
Meh.
expert opinion. Meh.
Meh.
Mess all around. Anywho, so track number 14. Again, I don't know if track is the right word for it. So, okay. I need to calm down, because as y'all have been noticing, I've subtly, not so subtly, been building in my anger, and this is where I literally dropped. I dropped what was in my hand. I couldn't fucking deal with it anymore. I was so fucking angry.
With the talking?
Why? Yes! With the fucking talking? With a third goddamn interlude? Like, why are there 3 interludes in one album? Why? All Time Low did a 15-track album, and there was an interlude interlude that was actually a really great song and didn't deserve the title of interlude, but yet this motherfucker does 3 interludes and it was just so unnecessary. Like, don't get me wrong, the rest of his songs were actually really good, but, like, I just feel he was adding shit to add shit, and it's just, I mean, it probably meant something to him, so I'll take it back a little bit on that one, but, like, the entire time I'm like, and this is what I was talking about before with the, Pete Davidson interlude, air quotes, this one at least had music behind it, so I could at least consider this an interlude. But the fact that it's the 3rd fucking interlude of this 15-track album, like, that's a 5th of the album. It's just interludes. Like, ah!
Oh my god. So intense.
That's where I'm at. The first 2/3 of this album, I'm like, fuck yeah, this is a great album. And then the last third, I'm just like, like my inner demon just came out, which was like, why?
Oh my god.
I don't get it. Why?
I think, so, like, for me, I just, like, didn't care. I don't know. Like, obviously very opposite from you, Brie, but, like, the other interlude and then this one, I listened to it one time as I was listening through the album, and then I have not listened to them again. Like, I just heard them one time, and then I'm like, okay, well, that was something. And then I have not listened to them. So it's like, I don't know. It was just kind of like there. It is annoying that, like, you have 2 speaking interludes on this album, and, like, All Time Low had 1 interlude and actually made it really good. But digress.
So normally I would agree with you, like, if I just skipped it, it would have been fine. But the fact that we're doing a track by track, I always try to listen to everything through fully at least 2 or 3 times. So by the 3rd listen through, I am just, like, done. Like, there's no need for this bullshit.
Yeah,
so that's why that's why I'm such a visceral reaction, because I'm like, no, if I'm going to listen to an album, I'm going to listen straight through, and I can't skip it. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, so for me, like, the last interlude I was, like, whatever about, but for this one, I think I fall a little bit in between. Like, I care a little bit more than Kelly does, but I'm not as angry as Brienne. It's just a big nope for me. Like, I can't with the nonsense. Like, it is absolute bananas, corny-ass, cringy couple shit. And it just, like, made my insides, like, I'm pretty sure, like, all my blood, froze over in my veins. It reminded me of this cringy video that my boyfriend showed me. Him and his brother parodied it on his brother's YouTube channel. Like, I can't even describe it. But I'm gonna try. It's like a highlight reel of this couple's relationship with them talking to each other, like, all, like, quiet and whatnot, and it's like about how much they love each other. I know it sounds a little bit sweet, but it's like very, very cringy. And you know what? I need you guys to watch it right now. I need you guys to react to it a little bit. I just set the link.
Okay, I will say I hate when couples who just started dating are doing, like, this kind of oh, those are her tits.
Yeah.
Oh.
Did she just moan?
This video may be inappropriate. It is.
This is so aggressively sexual.
It's very creepy. This is what that reminded me of.
Like, I feel like she's dead and he murdered her. Like, that's the vibe I'm getting.
I feel like their voices are trying to be, like, sensual, but it actually just kind of sounds like a horror movie.
It's, like, super, like, cringy.
It sounds like a horror movie.
I don't think I can watch this.
I told you, it's cringy as fuck, and that's what this made me feel. Like,
You're literally going to Whole Foods right now. Like, calm down. Everything's fine.
She's sitting in his car, and he's trying to take her phone. Like, I can't. See? Okay. I can't watch anymore. What basically it boils down to is, like, that's fine in real life. Like, those kind of conversations, like, no one's gonna... You can't expect people to not have those cutesy little conversations. But no one else other than the 2 of you need to fucking see it. No one cares.
Exactly.
And
that's what this comes down to, this fucking non-interlude bullshit.
Anger. I'll give you 3 fucking guesses what I labeled it. But, I mean, since we're labeling the other speaking interlude as nothing, are we labeling this as nothing? I had it as a flop, too.
I did because it
has a flop, but it had, like, the fire emojis on either side because I was just so angry.
Well,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I had it as a flop, but I put down the other interlude as a flop because we had a flop, a meh, and a non-rating, so I just put it as a flop.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
they're
sorry,
both
I didn't rate.
both interludes are a flop. Just
Agreed.
All right, then. So, on to the final official track of Tickets to My Downfall. Play This When I'm Gone. It was kind of like a ballad to start. That's what it felt like. And then I thought it was pretty sweet, to be honest. I thought the lyrics were pretty good. I feel like it's maybe for, like, his daughter or something. He has a daughter, right?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought that's
He
kind
was
of
a
like
very young dad.
what this felt like to me. I thought it was pretty sweet and like a nice way to close the album. I think the title track and Play This When I'm Gone were like pretty good bookends to this
Yeah.
experience, this journey or ride to his downfall.
For sure. I really loved this song. You know, it felt like I wouldn't know. I don't know if it was like to his daughter. It felt more like a love letter to me, like, you know, like a Dear John letter kind of thing. You know, the acoustic to it, like the like acoustic feel made it really feel personal, and lyrically it was quite good. It really told a full story that I think anybody can relate to, and yeah, I really was a fan. And I mean, I don't know if I'll listen to it in general, just because you guys know me and my apathy towards
Anti-sad
slow songs. Yeah, but I liked it, and I agree with you, Kelly. It was a good ending song.
So, as viscerally angry as I was going into this song, no. So this MGK fans will at least not hate me completely for this. So as angry as I was going into this song, about 15 seconds in, my mood switched like that. Like, this song was so good. It was so heartfelt. And like we were talking about before, about how like a lot of his lyrics are so weird and out there. I feel like this is one of the, not the first time, but one of the very few times on this album where he really, really digs deep and talks from his heart and, you know, is super vulnerable. And I honestly, like, I loved it. And then, the line, I'm 29 and my anxiety is eating me alive, like, same. Like, really
Same. I feel it.
But, unlike the two of you, I don't think it's to his daughter. I don't think it's like a Dear John letter. I hear this as a suicide note. Like, that's where my brain went.
Oh.
Like, because he's talked openly about how he's contemplated suicide and all this stuff. So that also might be my own history popping up, but like, it just, when I was listening to it, I was like, oh, dip. Like, this is straight up sounds like a suicide note that he's writing to his, I mean, it could be to his daughter, whoever, but like, I don't know, that was the vibe I was getting, so that's why I was just like, oh shit, because I knew that he had struggled with suicidal thoughts in the past, and so like, it was nice to see him be super vulnerable and like rip his heart open and, you know, and show that kind of side of him. So I really like the song. I love it, to be honest. Again, I don't know if I would listen to it on the regular, but if I was in one of those, like, I need to have a good cry moods, I'd probably put this song on a playlist and listen through. But
Yeah, this is definitely a good cry song, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I'm reading through the lyrics again right now, and I totally can see your perspective. For me, it was more of a, like, I'm leaving you kind of letter because of all my own problems, but I can
That makes
definitely
sense.
see where it would go to the next level.
Yeah. I think the reason why my brain jumped there is because before listening to this album, I read up on his history of, like, drugs and suicide and, like, his daughter and, like, the whole nine. So I think that was, like, so present in the front of my mind. That's probably where my brain went.
Yeah. Alright, so it's a jam for me.
Jam.
I know it's a bop, but yeah, jam
Okay.
works.
So, at the end of this, we have 1, 2, 3,
What's the
4,
tally?
5, 6 jams, 3
Oh.
bops, 4 mez, and 2 flops, which we know what those are.
Yeah.
So, we had mostly jams.
Wow.
So,
Yeah. So, final thoughts on the album. Overall, I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I definitely think Machine Gun Kelly and I guess Travis saved the best songs for the rest of the album. But, some of the singles I was previously about did grow on me. I'm not obsessed, but it's also not your typical pop punk album, so you wouldn't expect me to be obsessed with it anyway. I think a lot of the divisiveness on this album comes from, people lauding it and Machine Gun Kelly as saviors of the scene. Is it going to save the scene? Maybe. I think it'd be great if people found pop punk and emo because of, MGK's mainstream visibility. I found pop punk and emo after I was a rap fan, fake rap fan, because, I listened to rap to be cool, like my older cousins. But, point is, I found my music on the radio, and I got into this music because they were playing Fall Out Boy, Panic, Paramore on the radio. And, if his fans and other people that listen to the radio come to the scene and bring more mainstream visibility to music in the scene, I'd be all about it. Like, I'm ready to usher in a new golden age of pop punk. Like, imagine if you could hear Neck Deep and State Champs on the radio. I would love that. But honestly, I don't think Machine Gun Kelly is our champion. Despite this being a quote-unquote pop-punk album, I think it's heavily influenced by his rap roots. And, those that like this album or that are a fan of him from previous stuff, they're not going to be into bands like Grayscale and Seaway and The Maine. Overall, I don't think it's going to be something that's on repeat for me, except for Forget Me Too, because that's definitely going to be on repeat. And I will repeat again that Halsey needs to go pop-punk.
She needs to be our savior.
Yes, she can be our savior. She
100%
100% can be our savior. But so for me, it's going to be a C+, because it's arguably a good album, but not really original. And as far as it being considered pop punk, meh.
I think it was a good first attempt. Like, it was a solid first attempt at pop punk. If this was like anyone's second or third album within pop punk, I'd be like, oof, bro, like, what, like, go back to your roots. But I will say, having Travis definitely helped him in the long run. I do think that the main issue he needs to work on is just lyrics. But that's also just stylistic. So for all we know, there's plenty of people who love the lyrics out there, and that's just, my personal opinion. I like songs I could connect to, and like talking about an alien at a concert, I don't really give a shit about. So I also rated it a C+, just because there are definitely songs that I will listen to afterwards, like the song with Halsey. I'll listen to Bloody Valentine, like Play This When I'm Gone. I'll definitely listen to the album again, but it's not like Broadside's album where I listen to it cover to cover multiple times in a row.
Yeah.
Like Into the Raging Sea is the first time since any all-time low album that I've listened to straight through. This will not be one of those, but I'll still listen to songs on the album. Like, it was a very good album, but it wasn't great. So I'm gonna give it a C+. It's definitely better than the New Found Glory album, because that was just that was rough.
I think I agree definitely with a lot that you guys are saying. I think it was a pretty solid, like, quote unquote first full attempt at a pop punk album. I definitely think there are some really good songs on this album that I'll definitely be, they'll be in my rotation from now on. I think something that's stopping me from giving it like a really good rating is, like, I was kind of talking about this earlier, but like, I feel like all of the pieces, as I'm like choking on nothing, I feel like all of the pieces are there, but sometimes they're not like put together the right way. Like, the drums are actually like probably the only part that like need no fixing or comments whatsoever. It's just like, Travis doesn't need to be coached right now. He's great. But like, there were songs that had like really catchy melodies, and then there were songs that had like some interesting like effects and stuff on them. There were songs that had really good guitar riffs. There were songs that had like decent lyrics, and it was like, I don't know, I was struggling because I don't know that there was a lot of songs that had all of that together. Like, it was like one song had nice lyrics, one song had, catchy melody. I don't know. So I think that was making me struggle a little bit, but overall I thought it was a really good album. I think Travis's fingerprints are all over it, and I love it for that. And I would probably give it a B-.
Okay, so 2 C pluses and a B-. That is so that's like a grade point average of a 2.4. So it's a C plus. Your B- did not bring up the average that much, Kel.
Sorry, I'm MTK.
So it is a C plus from us on Tickets to My Downfall. Surprising grade in my opinion, considering how much shit we've been talking as we've led up to this album.
C plus doesn't sound great, but like it's pretty good.
It's a decent
I definitely think it's worth
grade.
a listen for everybody. I think, especially like if you're, I mean, obviously MGK fans are just going to listen to it, so like there's no convincing needed there. But like I think for pop punk fans, it's definitely worth a listen. Like I think a lot
you'll be
of
pleasantly
pop punk
surprised.
fans will find at least something that they like on this album.
Especially if you're a Blink fan, like give it a listen because you will hear the
influence
of
for sure. Yeah, I think you'll definitely be pleasantly surprised. I was pleasantly surprised, and you know how I felt about this. And
the biggest critic.
The biggest critic. So give it a listen. It's a tiny bit above average. You know, C.
Yeah.
And you know what they say, C's get degrees, and obviously Machine Gun Kelly's successful, so there you go. All right, well, thank you for joining us on this flight. Because actually it makes sense, you know, it wasn't a roller coaster ride. Flights are pretty straight, and you know, it was like
and then you drop out of the sky.
Yeah, it was like an uphill and then down, and then it was good. It was exactly, because it was just straight through, and it was fine.
True, and then the second half was like the descent.
Yeah, there's a little turbulence. That's all. So,
thank you for choosing Moshpit Airlines. Please grab all of your luggage and make sure to exit the plane in an orderly fashion. Thank you so much.
A disorderly fashion, because you know we're punks, and so. All right. Well, it has been real. It has been fun. It's been real fun. We will see you guys next time, possibly with another track by track. Who knows? Like I said, we're entering spooky season, so maybe we'll do something spooky. Woo, who knows? So don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Instagram at the Moshpit Pod, because we'd love to hear your thoughts on this controversial album, Tickets to My Downfall. So we'll see ya in the social webs. #Mosh on.